Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main event.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. Actually, some of you may be good morning. Apologize. This webinar today is going to be brief, and as the advertisement usually says, no salesman will call. We've taken that part out of our webinars. Too many people complain because they want free stuff, and you know the whole routine from there. Anyway, a couple quick questions to get us started. Number one, can everyone hear me? Just either raise your hand or type yes or no or don't care or whatever you want to call it, and we'll get moving on here. We have a lot of good information, a lot of new information. Thank you, Robert. And I actually got the slides finished about 2 hours ago because of some new and very critical and valuable information came to me, and I wanted to include that. So that was my excuse for procrastination. Anyway, as the slide says, my name is Michael Price, and I'll be today's fun-loving presenter. And let's move right on. Today's sponsor is All Power Solutions, and we offer sponsorships to folks who want to become part of the permanent webcast, which will be posted on YouTube as soon as we edit out all my mistakes. And I have a habit of clearing my throat and forgetting that I'm being recorded, so I'll clean all that up for you also, including what I just said. Today's agenda. Some of this was discussed in a previous webinar back in October, and I've been traveling quite a bit, visiting clients and helping them generate revenue for their contracts. And the new one is the third one from the bottom, National Standards Institute. And it's a new thing with all this cybersecurity that's going on. So we're going to spend a little time on that today also. We're going to discuss SAM, which is the old ORCA, FedBiz Ops. As a matter of fact, last night I watched the American Greed episode of the original War Dogs. I saw the movie and it was extremely informative. I suggest everybody watch it. It's a good comedy, but there's a lot of real stuff in there that we're going to discuss today to help you become more successful in government marketing and sales. I still haven't been able to figure out the difference between marketing and sales. We're going to discuss a little bit about pricing analysis. I know most of you are probably using FedBiz Ops already, or FBO, and submitting bids, winning some, losing most, but pricing analysis may help you. We'll talk about that. What's the status on GSA and their future plans? Of course, we're going to talk about NISD, a document that just got re-released as revision 1. Talk about teaming, and we're going to discuss credit cards so you can get paid quickly. By now, we should all know what SAM is. It's formerly ORCA, Online Reps and Certs application, which I thought was kind of cool, but SAM has made things, as far as I'm concerned, a lot more difficult. It is free to register. Please do not pay anybody to do your registration. You can do it yourself. The first time, it's tough. You have a lot of questions to ask. They have the answers. They have a help desk, everything. Keep it up to date, please. FedBiz Ops, current and past solicitations. Everybody says, well, I bid, and I never win. Well, that's okay. However, all of that information that's there is an excellent source for the buyer's information, contact information. You're developing your own database of government buyers' contact information. It's an excellent source. Take every bit of it. Choose your NAICS codes, North American Industrial Classification System. We knew it as the old SIC, Standard Industry Classification. They expanded it from 3 or 4 characters to 6 or 7. I can't remember. I get lost when I get in there, but it works. Avoid the scams of people trying to charge you to send. We'll send you for $300 a month. We'll send you every day possible bid opportunities. Click the button and FBO emails it to you automatically every day for free. That's what your tax dollars pay for. FEMA, another great scam. It's free to register. It's a 1-page document. Again, make sure you have your NAICS codes up to date in your SAM record. And now FEMA has moved over to under Homeland Security. And by the way, before I forget, there will be a QR code at the end on the last slide, which will get you our contact information, and it'll get you the slides for today's presentation before anybody asks. And they're always available. And the webcast will be posted to YouTube, and I think I'll probably put a link in there for you to download the slides also. Pricing analysis, something new over the last couple of years that's been kept a secret by the government, mainly GSA. As you know or may not know, for over 31 years, going on 32, we have been negotiating and helping clients get their GSA contract awarded. And in 1986, I started a company. I think, I believe in 1987, I finally decided to only concentrate on GSA. Unfortunately, or fortunately, all of the open market stuff still comes across my desk and I have to deal with it. And I've helped quite a few of my clients work on state contracts and some other teaming arrangements and things like that. The pricing analysis used by GSA, we have our own tool by the same programmers that did the one for GSA, not quite as robust, but it helps us identify bogus pricing. There was a vendor who shall remain nameless on GSA that had pricing that was 8 years old. His pricing to the government was below what my client was paying for the product direct from the manufacturer. We got that taken care of, and GSA has instituted a number of good tools to help eliminate bogus pricing. Where's GSA now? They are undergoing so many changes. I believe in the next slide, we're going to discuss one of the major changes. They're trying to do everything electronic now. They have transaction data reporting to make your reporting, if you're in possession of a GSA contract, congratulations. You've just made your sales job to the government a lot easier. Their electronic verification, now they are going to what's called the formatted price list. We'll discuss that in the next slide. Is it good? Absolutely. Anytime GSA makes a move forward, it's great. As we have seen in the media, they are moving towards mainly trying to do business with small business. They're cleaning up their data, as we talked about in the previous slide. But how does this affect you? GSA was originally designed for what's called best value. And the only example I can give you, I want to buy a TV. So I go to Best Buy and it's $800 and I pay 6% sales tax. If I want it delivered, maybe it's free, maybe it's $50, whatever it is. And I have to haul it home if they don't deliver it. But if I go to Amazon, pay the same $800, I don't pay sales tax, and it's free shipping in 2 days. Kind of which one gives you the best value, or better value, I should say. As far as I'm concerned, it's Amazon, unless I absolutely have to have it today. So the data being cleaned up is helping. Even though it's supposed to be best value, it's still a price war out there. The good news is there is no bidding. It's really you're giving quotes. The government already knows what your price is. They want to know if you can do any better. Yes, you're allowed to do spot reductions, all that good stuff. Now it's more competitive, and it's got realistic pricing. And the formatted price list is coming slowly. And the reason it's coming slowly is because most of the contracts, buildings, IT, office supplies are huge. They'll be the last ones to convert. Formatted price list. When you submit your price list to the government, when you're doing your negotiations to get awarded, when it's awarded, that price list automatically gets loaded over to GSA Advantage, which is their shopping cart. Anybody, anytime can go look at gsaadvantage.gov and see exactly who's got what for sale at what price. Enough about GSA. Let's talk about the new document that has come out from NISD. Protecting unclassified information in non-federal information systems and organizations. Now, if you do a Google search on NISD, the title, you'll get that document. It's a PDF. It's huge. The whole purpose of this new, I don't know whether it's going to be a law or a rule or whatever, is to protect unclassified information. If we're doing business with a government agency, we only deal with unclassified information. But they've gone further to say we as vendors need to be able to protect that unclassified information within our organization so that it doesn't affect the missions and business operations. Very, very long document. And the companion document to that is the Defense Federal Acquisition System. And those regulations also incorporate this document. It's good reading. Not really, but it's good reading. And that's all I need to say about that one right now. How many folks are now working in the government with teaming partners? Whether you're a prime or a sub, or if you both have a contract and you're doing what's called a contractor teaming arrangement or agreement. It's like everything else. Every acronym has two meanings. CTA, contractor teaming arrangement. Both of you have a contract. You can go in with a larger solution to the government. It represents a cost savings to the government. How many folks, I already know the answer, how many folks do not accept credit cards with the government? I know it's going to be a high number. It is a requirement to do business with the government that you must accept credit cards at the $3,500 micro purchase threshold or less. Everybody that I know that I've worked with in the last 30 plus years takes credit cards at every level. One of my clients, probably 10, 15 years ago, finally signed up for credit cards. His first order with his new contract was a $750,000 order on a credit card. He says, yes, but I paid 2.1%, in fees. Okay, $750,000. What's the interest on 30 days on that? And I think it's probably more than the $14,000 you paid or $15,000 that you paid. It's a cost of doing business. Understand, folks, that multiple purchases under the $3,500 limit violates the Competition and Contracting Act. The Act says that you must combine purchases when the anticipation is over $3,500. The buyers say, well, we didn't know that was coming. We didn't know that was coming. So we just kept firing off micro purchases. Eventually, I'll get a phone call that says, The buyer can't buy from me anymore. I have to get a contract. There you are. Almost 70% of those of you registered on SAM do not accept credit cards. You got to get them. If you go to our site, we have a company that doesn't charge all the extra, I call them scam fees, card not present, government purchase card. And I asked him, why don't you do that? He says, we learned one thing very early on when we were doing our business plan. The government never does a chargeback. So doing business with a government purchase card is the safest way that you can do business with the government. Other than that, you'll get automated clearinghouse ACH payments probably on the 9th day, 10th day, whatever. Whether you have a regular contract or whether you have a GSA contract, you're on SOUP, you're on STARS, anything you're on, almost always, if they can, they'll use a credit card because the accounting is done for them. What are your next steps? Every day I get a report from Sam on everybody's record that is expired. I saw a couple that were in there, were expired for 2 days and finally got, 2 years and finally got renewed. You have to keep it up to date because number one, if it's not up to date, the government can't do business with you. And even if they do, it's still your fault, not theirs, obviously. But worse, they can't pay you unless your SAM is up to date and current. Make sure you have your NAICS codes up to date for any business that you're doing that's not already in that file. Update it. I have clients that update it twice a month. On FBO, capture all that buyer contact information. They have to know who you are so they can do business with you. At least send you a quote, request for quote, request for proposal. If you have a GSA contract, let them know you have a GSA contract. Make sure they understand that they don't have to put that out for bid. You're ready, willing, and able to work with them to get them the best pricing solution for their mission. Also, make sure they have your current capability statement. How many of you don't have a capability statement? Probably quite a few. If you contact us, you'll see the information at the end of the presentation, which, by the way, is only 2 more slides. Very short presentation today because I know it's calling for snow in some areas, and I know in South Florida it is freezing. So freezing to us is anything below 70. Make sure you have a capability statement. We can put you in touch with the young lady, and if you Google Eileen Kent, K-E-N-T, and just tell her I told you to call. I don't get anything for it, and I don't do things for money. I do things for principle. That's the reason why we've been doing free webinars for many, many years. That's why we post them for free, so those folks that couldn't make it can still watch it. Here's the contact information if you want to screenshot it, or we can go to the next slide. If you've got a QR code reader, go ahead and scan. I'll give you a few seconds to pull out your cell phone and do it. The slides are already there and available, so as soon as you scan that, it'll pull them. I'd like to open the floor for any questions now. Anybody have anything that you'd like to know, even if it's not on topic? We enjoy, that's good. Robert accepts, Sam going to increase, let me get this, Sam going to increase the time limit. Robert, I assume that you mean every year. They do it every year because there's a lot of small contracts that are out there, small awards that are for a year. Not everything is multi-year. You're working with a team member with an all-steel dealership in California. I'm assuming, Robert, that means it's some sort of a steel seller or somebody like that. I'm looking up here to see if there's any other questions I missed. Nope, that's explain to me the all steel dealership in California. I have no idea who that is or what it is. I just assume it's something to do with metal. Okay. Let me back up here for those of you who do not have a QR code scanner. In fact, I forget how you do it in Windows, and I forget how you do it in on a Mac, because I just have a button on mine that just says screenshot. So, any other questions? Let's see what else we got here. Here's a good one. Kara, you accept credit cards and have a contract, but sometimes the buyers say they still have to go out to bid. No, they don't. And let me tell you folks a secret, and I assume, Kara, you mean you have a GSA contract. When you do a quote to the government, cheat, capitalize, cheat. Go to elibrary.gsa.gov, look for your competitors, find out what they're charging, obviously get the ones that are charging more, attach those contracts to your quote back to the government. You just did their work for them. They're required to get 3 quotes, or what they say, the regulation says review 3 contracts. Well, obviously, I'm not going to give them folks that are charging less unless I'm Amazon and I know I offer better value. But remember, as a small business, disabled veteran business, woman-owned business, you have a, what am I trying to say here? It's a multiplier. You can be 10% higher and still be considered in the competitive range. Hopefully that answers your question. What about, I got here again, I got Kara. We sell specific robots. Interesting. My robot just finished vacuuming my condo this morning before I came to the office. Problem is I got to keep dancing around to get out of his way. So that's our humor for that. What else we got here? Yep, Kara says, yes, we have a contract. Kara, make sure you have your $25,000 for the first 2 years. And also make sure you get 25 every year after that. And you don't have comparables. Well, that's even better. Unfortunately, the term sole source does not exist in government procurement anymore. However, if you've got a robot, and if it's that good, I'm going to Google it when we're done. I may want to buy one, depending upon what it does. And from that aspect, there's a reason the government is interested in buying from you. But they still are going to have to find a comparable product. And it may not be comparable at all. It may be in the name it says robot. So, and how many different robots are there? Is a drone a robot? Pretty much. So from that aspect, you've really got a sole source. It's time to capitalize on it. Well, Kara, thank you for your helpful info. My pleasure. And as they say to all of us disabled Vietnam vets, we live to serve. Firearm. Well, MotoShot is a firearms training robot. Anybody in attendance today need that? We can probably put you two together. I attended the symposium on, I can't remember what it was. It was up in Orlando. And that's where they had and I see it now in Hollywood. They've gotten away from using blank ammo. They use the electronic one, and it's similar, but it's a gun. It's an attachment they put on the gun, and they only had it set for a M16. So I assume they're going to start putting it on other types of firearms. We try to provide sole source, but sometimes that isn't enough. That was Robert. Robert, we may want to have a conversation after we're finished, and I'd like to hear more about your sole source opportunities. It's like that old TV program when I was growing up. It's called You Don't Say. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. It's the languaging that the government is concerned about. And if it's explained correctly, then they shake their head yes. Case in point, I have an IT client. They all have systems engineers. Well, let's go back 10, 15, 20 years. If the word engineer appeared anywhere in a labor category for IT, immediately they would say, doesn't apply to this contract. It should be over professional engineering. And my response is always, really? Does professional engineering, either architectural, mechanical, or environmental, what's that got to do with a network engineer designing and maintaining a computer network? Well, that didn't go over too well with the contracting officer, but they learned to deal with it after a while. All right, has everybody got their contact info? And I'm seeing a few more questions here that we've already answered, and we're looking good. Anybody have anything last minute that you want to discuss? Happy to do it. Well, here we go. Office furniture dealer. Now that is where you can make a ton of money, Robert. And hopefully you're making a ton of money, and hopefully you're providing a lot of good product. And now that I see the term all steel, I never even thought about that because I'm not really into office furniture anymore. But good luck with that. If you have any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email. If you want a good answer to a question, email me so that way I've got the answer to you in writing so you don't have to try to remember what I said on the phone. Happy to do it anytime. Email is the best way. And anytime, just fire off a question. I always find a few extra minutes during the day to respond to them, and we're good to go. Well, I said it was going to be quick. It's only been 31 minutes. We've reserved an hour, but we're done. And if there's no more questions, you've got the contact info. Let me give you that last slide one more time for those of you just want to click and go or scan and go. I'll give you 2 minutes on that one. It's been my pleasure today. Please answer the after web survey and tell us what you like and don't like. Liking is one thing. Not liking is how can we improve. I try to do everything impromptu. Sorry there wasn't more humor today, but it's cold in Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for spending time with us today, and we look forward to seeing you in our next webinar. Thank you.